must bar Oriental completely to save BC for the white race.
It's that sentiment which fueled the creation of the Chinese Exclusion Act 100 years ago. The legislation is the feature exhibit for the new Chinese Canadian Museum. It essentially banned Chinese people from coming to Canada.
These were the cards issued mainly to Canadian-born children.
And forced everyone of Chinese descent, even Canadians, to register with immigration. For curator Catherine Clement, it's personal.
To not only tell the story of those who are resilient and came through it and who I am the descendant of, but also the stories of those people who were lost and who unraveled.
She details the lives of men cut off from their families in China and forced to live in solitude.
We start to see a lot of reported suicides in the newspaper, mostly of Chinese men.
Others still went on to fight for Canada in the war. Clement wants all Canadians to know these stories.
And paying tribute to a generation of people who helped build this country. We can go over top of these, right?
This museum is a first in Canada, honoring the history and contributions of Chinese Canadians.
It also represents Toronto Chinese Canadian communities or Montreal Chinese Canadian communities. So we want to make sure that those stories are reflected across the country.
It's housed in the Wingsang building, the oldest in Chinatown, founded by prominent businessman Yip Sang. For generations, his family lived here, including his grandson.
Chinatown celebration, we just come here and look.
This was Mel Yip's playroom as a child. He says it's fitting this building is now home to the museum.
The stories, all the challenges that the early Chinese had to go through to get accepted. And I think it's great for future generations to see. So grandfather must have...
He says Wingsang means everlasting in Chinese, and it's now a place for these stories to live on. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.